What's up, y'all? Joining me from the edge of the Chromebook today. Sitting here at my desk. Let me tell you, my Chromebook is really crapping out. My new laptop comes in tomorrow. That's good. Just a second here. Just gonna restart this so the screen actually works. The mouse is a little goofy recently. When I start these videos, I usually don't have any idea of what I'm going to do per se. But today I actually have a pretty good idea, I think, of what I'm going to go over. This is inspired a little bit by I call her my fiance. We're only 17 though, so she can't be. My girlfriend. Um, as we were planning for this next semester, we were talking about, with our online classes, how we were going to tackle those because they're completely asynchronous with no professor, which means you literally log in, you teach yourself the content, you read, watch videos, whatever, and then you do your assignments, and you can do it on whatever time frame you'd like. Um, Now, someone like me, that's going to be very sporadic. I personally am probably going to find the random motivation at 1 a.m. on Thursday to smash out probably 3 weeks worth of content, and then I'm not even going to touch it for maybe a month. Um, Her, however, on the other hand, she is much more disciplined, or at least consistent. I mean, I'm disciplined when I have to be, but I love giving myself comfort, or at least temporary comfort. But she's much more consistent with her discipline. She likes to have a little bit of a schedule. Um, so she was talking to me about how she's going to go about her classes, and her proposal was that she spend an entire hour every Monday, in our commons here, the learning commons, debriefing herself on what she has done and what she will need to get done. And I'm like, dude, an entire hour? It's going to take me an hour. Well, I think that's quite smart, actually, because it allows you, and especially with multiple online classes, it allows you to really get a grasp of, after a certain amount of time, how long it really takes you to do what you have to do. Because for people that haven't taken online classes before, she hasn't. This is her first semester. For people that haven't taken online classes before, you don't really know um, exactly how long it's going to take. You kind of assume that it's going to be less work than an in-person class because you don't have to be there. You can do whenever you want. But in some ways, it's actually harder than an in-person class because um, I've found that deadlines or due dates are absolutely non-negotiable. Um, Whereas you can probably swindle your professor into taking a late assignment if necessary, or depending on the professor, but absolutely not with asynchronous courses. Sure, you can write an email to the board of eCore, but that's not going to work. Um, it's it's just a huge organization. They don't really care about your feelings. Um, but for that same reason, you can make it easier because it's literally just content that you read and teach yourself, and then show them that you've read it. You don't even have to you don't really have to display an expert level understanding. You just have to show that you know the keywords and stuff in your little online quizzes. Um, but for my girlfriend, she tells me that she wants to make Mondays her online class days, and I think it's a great idea. I think you test that out. I think for the first week or two, um, we're gonna do something like logging on, seeing what the calendar kind of looks like, seeing what we have to do, the amount of content, how it's broken up, when everything's due, and sort of decide after then, at what time frame do you want to tackle it, because the recommendation from these organizations that you log in every single day. Well, you can do that if you want, sure. I doubt that. No one wants to log in every single day, and I don't think it's necessary to log into your online classes every day. I think it's totally fine to do every other day like normal class. I think it's totally fine to do once a week. I think it's totally like a lab or a seminar. I think it is fine to do it once a day if you want to, but me personally, I don't. I don't really want to think about the same thing 4 or 5 days a week for 16 weeks, or 8 weeks if it's accelerated. But what we're gonna do with that is we're gonna see how long it really takes to do a week's worth of content, and I'm sure we'll go in, we'll break that down come Monday. Um, But depending on how long it does take, if it takes, say, 3 hours to read your content, watch your videos, and then do your online quizzes or homeworks or whatever, if it takes you 3 hours, then maybe you do want to split that over the course of 2 days in a week. Sit down on a Monday, hour and a half, boom, done. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even. I like to take Fridays off. But if you're feeling it, which I might be sometimes, log in on a Friday, get that done. That's your 2 hour-and-a-half sessions into 3 hours. I think knowing how long it's going to take you is very, very wise, and probably a great thing to look into, or at least to walk into yourself, because you don't want to be the kind of guy that doesn't log into their e-core class or their online class for the first week of class, and then all of a sudden you're starting off with a 0 because you missed 2 assignments. I think it is important to start on the first day and consolidate yourself and give yourself a little bit of an understanding of what you're dealing with, especially if you're a first-time user of the online class system. And even if you're returning, like me, every class has its own pace online. I mean, there's not even like between 8 weeks and 16 weeks. I'm talking about like within each class. Like courses like psychology, you're going to be doing more reading than. Actually, that's tough. Almost all my classes have a ton of reading, but for something like psychology, you're going to be doing more reading than probably I'd say economics. Economics was more kind of applying the knowledge, whereas psychology, it's literally just like you got to know Dorothy Dix, you got to know Freud, you got to know Carl Jung, you got to know all these people, you got to know what they did, you got to know their time periods, you got to know all these vocabulary words like freaking medulla and hypothalamus, whatever, and what they do. You have to know all this, and it's cramming a lot of knowledge into your brain. Whereas with economics, it's more of applying short run aggregate stuff, aggregate supply onto a graph or whatever, and this and the other. So it's a little less information, but you're kind of actually using it a little more. So just getting to know your course, that's important. Um, and if you just happen to be taking either of the two of those, then you kind of know what to expect. But to develop that, besides that, I think it's important to set yourself on a schedule, because most people aren't like me. They're not the crazy sporadic, or at least they shouldn't be the crazy sporadic academic individual, student, whatever you want to call it. Most people are going to be the person that wants to have a little bit of structure, even if that's forced upon them. Even if you've got your roommate that's forcing you to sit down on a Monday for 3 hours and do your online classwork. I mean, that's good, because you get your class done and you're not behind. And let me tell you, falling behind in online class is the worst, because some of them will take late fees, sure, or late assignments with the penalty, but some won't. The problem is you still have to know that content, so it feels a little useless because you're reading all this content, because it's usually building off of itself. But you don't even get any credit for it. That's so discouraging. Hate that. Worst feeling ever. I actually haven't experienced that. I did actually, technically, once. But I learned from that experience. Didn't do it again. But knowing what you're dealing with, not getting behind. In fact, staying ahead, getting everything done as soon as pretty much it's open or posted, that's actually really good, I would say, because then you don't even have to worry about it, and it kind of shows that you're like better than everyone else, because you're the nerd that actually logs in the day that something comes out and then does it, rather than has a look at it, is like, I'm gonna do that later, and then does it a week from now, like the day before due date or something. I think that's kind of a little flex, at least in the nerd like world, that like, oh, I saw my assignment and got it done immediately. Whoa, I feel like that hits a little different sometimes. Um, Besides that, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Is just sticking to, or making a plan. Getting a feel for your online course. Seeing how much time it's going to take you per week. And then breaking that up between a day, 2 days, 3 days, as you wish. Just make sure you get all it done. And you're going to have some variance in that. I mean, it's not like you're going to be spending 3 hours every week strictly in every single module or lesson's all going to take the same amount of time. It's not, and you're going to have to adjust for that. But if you can find, kind of a little bit of a middle ground, maybe an average, don't use averages, use medians. A little bit of a median, fluctuate as needed. Um, I think you'll find that it's a lot easier to tackle your assignments online, and you're much more comfortable with it because it flows a lot better with the classes you have in person, and also just with your regular schedule. Because, say, if you have work on one half of the day, well, you don't want to be um, sitting around not doing anything for the first half of the day. Then after lunch, you cram in very stressfully a certain amount of work for an online course. Then you go to work from I don't know 4 to 11, and then you come home absolutely stressed, knocked out, go to bed, and then this is the same thing tomorrow. I mean, I think it's great if you can wake up and do your little morning routine, and then hop on the computer, get some stuff done, and then have your lunch, get a few more things done, maybe, and then go to work pretty much stress free, calm, chill day. You don't want to take on a huge workload all at once. Um, if you are able to, if you're like me, then yeah, you can go a little faster. You can finish your course um, ahead of time. I finished a course in 10 weeks out of a 16-week time period. I mean, it's doable, and if you have the time, you might as well. Certainly better than just playing Clash Royale um, for hours a day, which I'm guilty of occasionally. But just keeping yourself in check, keeping yourself disciplined, and creating something that you can actually follow. I think those are very important ways to use your time for your online classes. That'll be it for today. I just got a few last minute things to have a quick look at here on the Chromebook. I was going to do them while I talk, but I can't. I'm not physically capable of that because of my stupidity and ADHD. But if you made it this far, I appreciate you very much. Thank you. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.